so many Oscar-winning fucking movies. My favorite from him was the movie The Big Country, which has one of my favorite moments in there, and I think Martin has the video here. See if I can find it. Yep, here it is. So Gregory Peck and Charlton Heston have a fist fight that lasts about 10 minutes. And the way William Wyler shoots this, instead of getting up close and showing the action, he pulled back to show the landscape and these two minuscule guys fighting in the middle of it. And it really, it's beautiful to see, but it feeds the mind telling you it's like what a petty small problem they've got to this just giant planet. They're ants. But then the scene ends and they're both sitting there worn out. They've been, Charlton has been giving Peck shit all the movie. And so they're sort of looking at each other and they're kind of done, and Heston looks up at him and says this.
You take a hell of a long time to say goodbye.
Because the fist fight was basically he approached him and said, I came to say goodbye. He goes, oh, well, let me get my dress, or let me get dressed. I'll meet you out there. And then at the end of the fight, he delivers that line. It's fucking great movie.
You cut it off, and it feels like to me he was gonna say "damn dirty ape."
Damn dirty ape. Well, wait, put that back up, Martin. What'd you say? You can say Heston pecked. Oh, you dickhead. That's a good one. Pecked on Peck. So we're going to be talking about Open Range, and Open Range has some interesting little bits of trivia about it. And for me, the most interesting is that this was sort of a passion project for Kevin Costner. I like his love for men, not in the fruity way, but his love for telling stories about real men. And he's a guy born in California, but you'd swear to God, he's from Oklahoma with the way he talks. He just has sort of a natural drawl when he talks. And that's why he's so good in Westerns. Now, he tends to do things like everybody has a lot of praise for the movie Wyatt Earp. I have some, but overall, my problem with that is Costner was going through a period where every single character he had to play had to be in some sort of angst, fighting something about himself. He wants him conflicted, and he likes conflicted characters. And I'm like, you won't find that in those days. And that's my problem with it. And I think he finally got out of that phase because his characters are far more interesting. The Postman is one of my favorite Westerns, and it's a sci-fi film.
Yep.
Have you ever seen that?
Awesome. It's awesome. I love it. I do, Gary. It's fantastic.
It's a great film, and we will eventually get around to doing it. Because I've talked to Anima, because the reason I do the Wednesday show is just so we can talk about the films that we just watched. And Anima goes, actually, we're doing research. I said, no, we're not. This, for me, is what I like doing. I like to watch movies, and then I like to talk about them. And I don't know about you guys, that's like my favorite thing to do. To watch a movie and then sit down and talk about it. What did you think of that? What was your reaction to this part? And out, you look at Open Range, I almost said Outland. Open Range is just this kind of Western that simplifies it. And I know you haven't seen it, Mephisto, but I just wanted you on the show. I think you're a fucking awesome dude. I really do.
First of all, thank you. Just as a treat, I went out and got, we talked about posters and stuff, and I found this.
That's gorgeous.
Not sure if it's actually Wasteland or it's like a German version of this.
It's Weizland, isn't it?
If Anima? It's German, it's Weizland. But
Anima's Austrian. She speaks High German. Anima, love of my life, are you there, my Liebling?
She's muted, so maybe she stepped away. But yeah,
she's probably milking her cat.
We talked about posters and stuff, and I particularly like when it's it either actually is painted or made it look like an oil painting, like this one.
Mhm.
it I don't know the difference because I'm not an artist.
Well, I'm
But
looking at this and I
does
don't
look
think this is digital, because I'm seeing certain things that you wouldn't do in digital, doing digital art. But this looks to me like acrylic on
this
illustration
might
board.
be a DVD cover of sorts rather than a full-on movie poster, because the
Let
other
me
movie
go
posters kinda look close to what it is. This could be like a DVD cover for, a European release or something. No idea, because the website I'm using does not say where it's from.
Yeah, I'm looking right now on Google. That looks like the painting right there. Here it is.
Well,
And
I
this
can
is
actually this
it's
is the web
German.
this is the
Yeah, I'm looking at it
website,
right now.
and if you look at the CD covers, this is the CD covers, and one of them, like two of them, two different ones are of that same picture.
Sorry, guys, I'm back. You needed me?
Yeah, I said this is German. It's Weizland. And
Weitesland. Yeah.
You pronounce the second E. So you
Weitesland.
say
Yeah, that's how you
Weites.
say it in German. Yeah.
Okay, Weitesland. So I'm looking at it even closer. I'm positive this is acrylic. And it looks like I'm looking for what they call artifacts where you can tell whether it was digital or not. And I think this is a real painting.
It could be. If you look at if you just like this came out 2003. So if this is one of the original either Blu-ray or like regular DVD stuff that they came out with as artwork for either the cover or the CD itself, then yeah, it could have been acrylic. If it was like 2010, 2011, it's Photoshop or Illustrator or one of those other Adobe products that they probably used to mask what it actually is. Because
It really looks like a painting to me.
I'm not really an expert, but I do use Photoshop a little bit, and there is a technique that you can use that you blur you take a picture, you blur it a little bit, and then you add in a mask of oil painting, and no, it doesn't look like you did it, but it looks much more of cartoony of sorts. So you can play around with it, add in extra highlights for the black, so the black kind of pops out, so you get a little bit of a feel to it, but it
He said the
never looks
blacks,
like,
you guys.
Yeah, I know, you racist. Here's
Sorry.
a close up of it. And I'm
yeah.
telling you right now, this stuff going on right here, this little area, these are all done by brushes. And they don't look like digital brushes. This here,
If you look at
this highlight,
Duval's face, you kind of can tell that it's maybe not painted by with an actual acrylic. Maybe it's painted with some sort of a digital thing, but it's done in its same
it's
technique.
probably painted and then cleaned up digitally.
Could be.
To go in and just clean up little areas, smooth it out.
Yep.
This technique here, I do this all the time with clouds. This is
Yeah,
an easy technique.
happy little clouds.
Yeah, because what's going on here is this is a gradient gray background, and I think these clouds were added in digitally because these are not painted into it. These are layered over it. And I can tell that right now. These are layers. The highlights are layered over top of the dark gray background. Now you can do the same thing with an airbrush, and I've done that with one of the Star Trek paintings I did for Paramount. And to do the highlights, I should have painted the highlights as I laid the background, but then I realized as I'm doing the painting, oh, there should be a highlight here. So I just went back in and highlighted it with an airbrush. I went in there, did
Um,
pinpoint, and then started doing the spray that spreads it out a little bit. What it is just basically it's a galaxy going across the sky.
Hey,
And
Gary,
yeah,
should I run the slideshow?
no,
Consider
never.
time?
We're not going to do that
Okay.
anymore. Didn't I tell you?
Okay.
Yeah, put it
Good.
up.
Good
Put
to
it up.
know.
Put it up. Get it up.
Oh, Verizon.
I did that on
Can
purpose.
you
Get it up.
And as for the other,
can you check the private chat a little, please?
as for the other stuff, Anima, you said something backstage, but we were going live, so I didn't have a chance to react. One of the things that that I really like, at least about YouTube, is they're smart enough to copy the good stuff that Twitch has, which was the raid, which
Oh, yeah.
it, to me is always important, especially when you have a channel that you actually watch or actually support. Like I don't have a lot of time to watch other people's stuff, especially live. If I'm watching people, it's usually when I'm literally doing something on the other monitor. But what I went to the States around April and I met with Matt Kadish from Salty Nerd Podcast. And we went to eat lunch, and I told him, "Look, man, I don't want to overstep my balance here. You're great people over on the podcast. You specifically, we talked on DMs and stuff. Would you mind? I do a show that literally starts after your show. Would you mind sending your people over, because I know like they like movies and pop culture. They might be interested in what we do." And he
Right.
said, "Well, yeah, we were looking for a show to get all our people out, but there's nobody that starts right after us. So it kind of is
Yeah,
a good
because our
precedent."
Saturday show starts during their last hour.
Yeah. So what I told him, look, I'm gonna find somebody else that is doing basically what we do, which is just movies or TV or pop culture, something that is related to each other, sort of the entertainment space. And I said, as soon as I find that person, this I'm going to transfer as much as possible, because it's just paying it forward, right? So you get some love, you deliver some love back, and if people are interested, good. If not, i I just gave it a chance. I don't run a big show, I run a little show. It gets bigger, every few months. It kind of gets more and more and more, and I do enjoy it. So I'm moving them over to because we basically do the same thing, but not really. You have a panel show. I have a more, I don't want to say a select group, but I like it when it's us two co-hosts and another guest, or maybe even two, because I
have
want
a
to have.
funny thing about him, because some of the guys on the panel know they've seen me get angry when we have a panel that gets out of hand, and there are some people I just won't have on anymore. I love them, but I just don't want to have them on the show, and you've got to control that. And I've got my regulars that I like having. Joe's one of my regulars. Deleted Scenes, one of my regulars. Anima is the love of my life, and I created this show just so she and I could do a show together. This one, and I got her watching with me on Mondays
Yeah,
because
for sure, Scary.
she's a big supporter of soldiers. She loves soldiers, and so I said, Dangerous Nerds originally started the whole thing, and I
Yeah.
do that show. In fact, I'm doing that show tonight. I'm interviewing best-selling author Brian. I just forgot his last name. I forgot his last name. Brian.
Don't
Anyway,
worry, I'm horrible with names. I forget names all the time.
all the time. Ditto. I have to say a name 20 times before. Boland. Brian Boland is his name. And I am the artist that did all of his book covers. And when he found out that I do a military broadcast where I invite other military people or people who love the military, like Zach Ward's a friend of mine, redhead from, most people know him from A Christmas Story. He was the red-headed bully in the original film. Scott Farkas, I think was his name. And he and I are friends. We know each other for years. And He was one of my first guests on Dangerous Militaries. He's not a veteran, but he loves the military, and he's played soldiers a few times, and he loves talking about the military and knows that he's worked with that were from the military. And so I like supporting the military, but I love supporting film and good television. And that is what Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday are all about, Mephisto. Is
Yeah, and
talking about good, beloved filmmaking or good television.
I started
So
I started my show with the channel sort of going all over the place. But when I started my show, because I wanted to encourage other people to watch movies specifically, and that was like a mission statement that the show is like a book club but with movies. So
Yeah.
I encourage people to like, okay, next week we're gonna watch this show, this movie. Watch it during the week, doesn't matter which day. Take your time and we'll talk about it next week. And the whole point is maybe it's a movie that you've never seen before. Maybe it's a movie that you have seen before. Maybe it's a movie that you haven't seen, but you heard a lot about. So to pretend that me at 45, I know everything, blah, 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 blah. I know just that much, right?
Yeah.
But I know there's a generation that comes after me that really has heard. They heard about Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, although like deep pop culture that I love, but they haven't actually seen the movie. I sat around a dinner at like a holiday. We have like a Jewish holiday, the Jewish New Year. We sat around the table. There's 15 people there, and there was a guy in the army, special forces guy, and we were talking, and I just said, "Well, it's in Die Hard, you know, the guy does this and this," and he's like, "Die Hard?" And it blew my mind. The guy, he's 20 years old, a soldier. He's never seen Die Hard ever in his life.
Wow.
Could you imagine?
No, I run into people like that all the time. Somebody told me, and they were like in their 20s too, and they said, I've never seen Star Wars, like any Star Wars. And they're like, no, I've never seen. I'm like, you got to go out of your fucking way not to have seen Star Wars. I mean,
Yeah,
you got to work at that.
it's so like yippee ki motherfucker.
Yeah,
And
yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
I realized that the GIF generation, I don't even call it Z or G or whatever, the GIF generation, they know these memes and GIFs from Twitter, from Instagram, from whatever. They know the reference, but they have not seen the movie. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God.
And the
If
whole
you-
idea of doing these things, Mephisto, is to encourage people to go watch these films. We get these occasional, and I apologize if there are any idiots watching right now that you're an idiot, because we have a handful, it's just a minority, that will make a comment like, "Why don't you get those people to shut the fuck up and show the damn movie?" I'm like, you're blocked, you're banned, because what a stupid comment. If you're gonna be mean, at least be funny about it. Be intelligent. But don't say stupid shit like that to me, because that's just dumb. I'm not even going to respond to it. I stopped it here for a reason, 2 reasons. One, I wanted to respond to. Patrick is in the chat. I'm hoping he's still there right now. That's the Chief. He does a show on Tuesdays here on Pop Culture Minefield, Morning Coffee with the Chief. And he does the same thing. He is a retired Los Angeles Sheriff's Department chief, and many years in law enforcement, and I think 38 years is what he told me. And he loves to break down films that deal with crime and law enforcement on his shows on Tuesdays. Absolutely, if you've not seen it, Mephisto, I highly recommend you check him out, because he
told you
brings
that.
on other cops to talk about these movies. And they just did, like we did, French Connection, because I love the French Connection. It's one of my favorite films of all time. And that's not military.
Time to watch everybody like dive like deep into movies. It gets me going, because some of these movies I know a little bit more, some of them I know a little bit less, but it's always fun to get stuff going. You mentioned the guy, the Chief. said about crime. I had a guy fixing my modem yesterday, and we were talking tech stuff, and he noticed the mic, and he's like, "Are you doing podcasts?" And I said, "Well, yeah, kind of." And it's like, "What do you do?" It's like, "I talk about movies." Dude, I love Stallone. Like out of the blue, it's like I watch everything Stallone does, and I love mafia movies. It's like awesome,
Okay.
dude.
I'm going to point out something. What you're talking about right now is something that I love. That there is a connection you can make with people. You can sit there with people and not have anything to talk about. Then all of a sudden you bring up a movie and a conversation starts. And I have started so many conversations with strangers over talking about a movie. And it's so engaging to hear other people talk about the film from their perspective, what they thought of it. And this is why, once again, I want to point out the chief, when he's doing it from the law enforcement side of things, and he invites other cops on from all over the country, New York and stuff, and they talk about specific things in the film that are just to that location where there were cops, how it identifies. But he also brought something else in the chat, and that's what another reason I stopped this is the shootout. We are going to do my top 10 favorite shootouts of all time, but we're only doing it on Rumble because YouTube is a cocksucker. And
Yeah,
all they
they're
want to
gonna
do is
burn you.
shut you down. You talk about anything that they see as commercial, even though all you're doing is promoting it.
Right? It's like
You
Napster
know,
was in the old days, right? Why
yeah.
shut it down? All you're doing is promoting it.
So,
Talking about your love of film, Gary, me and my brother can have entire conversations in movie quotes.
yeah,
You know, yeah.
many of my friends are like that. You know,
Mhm.
we'll just sit there and you'll say something and you go, "Hey, that's from a movie."
Me,
I know
me
that
and
one.
my wife are exactly like that.
I
We
do it all
quote
the time.
we quote to each other all the time, and she knows what I mean, and I know what she means, and I know where it's from and what
Right.
the connection is to what we're talking about. We're talking about something completely different, and she's gonna say the quote, and I know exactly what she's thinking.
That's what my
Exactly.
dad and I do, but with opera. We're weird. I grew up backstage in the Vienna State Opera House and music stuff. But yeah, we do opera quotes, and it's
If
crazy to everybody.
Anima was a guy, she'd be quite gay.
No, I wouldn't. Fuck you.
I
I love opera
and
too.
that's the thing I love, and one of my favorite, like one of the favorite shows that we've done, wasn't my favorite because it was the movie we're talking about, was the guest. We had a guest on. She's 22, 23. She's never seen the Goonies before, and we got her to watch the Goonies. And her, when we kind of broke everything down and started to actually go into the guts of the movie, her perspective was something that we couldn't give. I can't go to that feeling of being 7-year-old and popping that VHS in and watching the Goonies. Can't do it, right?
Right.
I don't remember what I just threw in 7 years old. I don't remember when it was, but I do remember looking at this thing. It's like, oh, it's a kids film with kids and there's pirates. Put it on. It's like,
It's actually for the whole family because kids can watch it, teens can watch it,
watched
and
it with my
adults can
kids.
watch it.
I watched it with my kids. I watched Flight of the Navigator.
Another fun film.
They get it. They get it. You know, it's varied. But when I talked to the guy, the IT guy, I love Stallone. And I said, well, I watched all the Rocky pictures with my kids, all of them. And yeah, the first and the second are a little bit slow, but my kids got it. But I have a
Right.
boy and a girl, and even the girl got it. It's you know, if it's done right, it really doesn't matter if the technology is not there or the CGI is dodgy or the effects are like, oh, I can see the effects. If the story's good, the character is good, they connect with it, you can get it. And
Well, that's the
same
whole
goes.
thing because when I went to writing, to learn how to be a writer, and one of my greatest teacher wasn't in school, was Josh Becker, because he taught me the rules of the real rules of writing a good screenplay. And he said, if you can't identify with your protagonist or any of the characters, you have a lazy writer, because that is part of the job of the writer, is to get the audience to give a shit about the main character. And speaking of one of the main characters, I paused it here. I got to get the film strip going back. This is why you don't recognize that kid, but here he is. It's the same actor from Andor
Diego
and
Luna.
from Rogue One. Yep. Also known as Martina Costa Santana, because they sound a lot alike. Right, Martin? I think he's feeling sick, so I don't know if he's even here right now. But I'm going to start the
Yes.
strip back.
What were you saying?
That
Maybe
you
I'm
are this guy. You're one and
No.
the same.
No, it's a lefty.
He's oh, is he?
Oh yeah.
Sure all are.
Oh,
Just give
I
it
hate
up.
finding out somebody that I like. I really hate that, because
You
I
ruined
like
it, Martin.
Benicio del Toro, but he's a big socialist in real life. But he's a great fucking actor. But I leave it at the door. I walk away and I don't give two shits what he has to say about life.
No,
And
about Diego,
the
I
chick
can
from
see.
Predator 2, she kind of went to war with him. You know, Alonzo, I forget her full name. Gorgeous Hispanic actor.
Conchita Alonso.
That's her, Alonzo.
She's not for Predator. She's for Running Man.
I said Predator 2. I said Predator 2.
Predator
sorry.
2 and Running Man.
And I don't like Running Man. But I love Predator 2 for its own reasons. But she went to war with Benicio del Toro and another actor, because they were pro-communism down there. And we're going out there doing tours to help promote these fucking communist leaders. And she just absolutely went off on him. That's why you don't see her anymore.
You can't until like when you hear like Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall were like deep socialists that just got away from the clutch
Hey,
of McCarthy. I was like, okay, it's fine.
that's Kubiak.
Yeah, that's Larry
Yeah,
Kubiak.
that dude is built like a fucking Navy SEAL now.
Man,
He
all
went
right,
on that.
guy, dude. He died a few years back. He's such a good dude. He was
Who?
such a good dude.
He died?
Yeah, I think so.
Kubiak?
A few years, but yeah. I don't
No,
remember his
I don't think so.
What?
Because I thought I saw him in an interview just last year. He's still alive.
I
He's
thought he was
54.
still around. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I must have been.
What
thinking
I
that's-
remember him most for was small roles in other films. Like he's in that Ghostbusters like film that deals with scientists and aliens. Ivan Reitman.
Independence. I think he was in Independence Day too.
I don't remember him in that, but I know he is in that film because he's one of the students at the college, and he had a huge weight problem for years, but it got him roles because he's a big guy. They wanted somebody that looked that way, and then one day he was like, after My Name Is Earl, you know, he started realizing I need to do something, because he was having heart problems and all sorts of shit. And that fucking guy went out there and did the Navy SEAL diet and exercise program. He's a beast. He's been on Joe Rogan. That's the interview I remember from, I think, earlier this year or end of last year. And the guy just took control of his life. And but I love this guy as an actor, and he's so good in this part. And you got him and Luna and Costner and Duvall. They're your main characters. But these two, him and, well, not Costner, but I just forgot his name again. Ben Rudy. He gets shot and is dying, and oh no, he gets killed. He gets murdered during the night during a raid, and
Yeah, pretty early on.
because these guys aren't sheep herders, they're cattlemen. Okay, they're cowboys, real cowboys, and but they do something that some ranchers don't like, which is called free grazing. Now, I understand it when ranchers have a problem with free grazing sheep because sheep will destroy your fucking land. They rip up the grass from the root and eat it, and they do huge damage. So free grazing with sheep, I understand the problem. But with cattle, that grass is going to grow back. They only eat half the fucking grass and leave the grass alone so it can grow back
They're
up.
also on the move all the time.
And they're constantly on the move. But they end up in a town outside of a town where the guy that owns the land, Irishman, played by the Michael Gambon, playing an Irishman in this
Dumbledore.
one. He has a great
Yeah.
Irish accent in this.
Fake Dumbledore.
Big
And
Dumbledore.
I was Gary told me eventually, and I was like, where do I know him from? But his voice is weird. What the fuck? And then Gary said, he played Dumbledore. He took over, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah, when
for having
Richard
moments
Harris,
like that.
the person they should have gotten for that, if it wasn't his son, Harris's son, they should have reached out to his best friend and gotten Peter O'Toole to take over the role because he would have been great.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, I love Michael Gambon, but he was not Dumbledore to me. He just never quite fit the role.
I'm sad to say, or not sad
Matinee
to say, I
has
don't like
picked Dumbledore.
any of the Harry Potter movies.
You must leave now.
I love
You
the book.
abandoned.
No,
That's good, dude.
My
Same.
daughter
Same with Mephisto.
loves the books and the movies. She's like, Dad, don't worry. She said to me, don't worry about it. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, I know the book is better, but the movies are entertaining. And that's important. She was like 11.
I'm
I was
the
like,
opposite because my problem with, because I read the books because of my daughter. I had a daughter that was into that shit too. And I loved it when she was into the Harry Potter shit. It's when she got into Twilight that I was just like, yeah, I'm not involving myself in this. That's gay. Too gay for me.
Yeah.
But Harry Potter was fun to me because it was a coming of age story and I got it. I really loved that. But the books, my problem with J.K. Rowling's is she's incredible at character development, incredible at the overall skyscraper view of how to tell a story. But when she gets into the minutia, she writes like a teenager. Her descriptors are just weird and childish.
I know that criticism. If you look at the books through the eyes of what if Harry Potter would have written the book, the first book is super childish and it gets older and more angsty.
They grow with the
more she
audience.
writes it. So
That's true. And I will agree with that because the last one I read was the one that got split up into two movies. What was it called?
Deathly Hallows.
Deathly Hallows
That
was the last
dark,
book I
man.
read. And
It's my favorite book.
it is. I considered that the best thing she ever wrote. It was so deep. It's, I looked at that and I'm like, what she created here is, in my opinion, as good as Star Wars. And people will get mad at me because I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
It was
Real
the Star
legacy.
Wars for my daughter's generation.
And it really is.
It was.
I think it is.
Mhm.
I think, and again, Star Wars is also Star Wars for kids this generation because my daughter, she's like me. She's a holistic nerd. She loves all of it. We will sit there. Like she doesn't like Star Trek, the original series, but she loves the movies, the classic movies, all the way from the motion picture to 6. She loves those. She didn't get into the next generation. She loved the original stuff. She loves Spock. And my daughter, like you were just talking about, okay, she walks around all the time doing quotes from movies.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorites, she'll just walk up and she'll come home from school and she'll yell out, home again, jiggity jig. And I'll go, hello, Sebastian, or JF. Hello, JF. That's from Blade Runner. My daughter's a fucking nerd. And I've tried to get her on this show a couple of times. She won't stay. She's nervous. But I'm telling you, man, I would love to do a show, Mephisto. How old is your kid?
She's 13 and she came home today with a time turner. She bought like some flea market. I was like,
she's right at that age where I had that love-hate relationship with my daughter when she hit right after 12. It was like, midway through 12, my daughter became somebody I didn't recognize, and she was still a nerd. Don't get me wrong, but she was one of the most aggressive fucking teens I'd ever met in my life. And she would come home, and somebody says, "How you doing, man? You and Zoe?" I said, "Zoe's doing great." I said, "Me, I love her, and then I want to murder her. It's just it's that love murder relationship we have." And she'll know it. I'll just turn. She would say something to me that was just blatantly fucking stupid. And she should have known better and say it. And I'll just turn and just give her this look. You like this, Mephisto?
I know that look. I gave that look. I think I
You
gave
good
it
at that
today.
look too?
I
The
gave it
resting
today.
bitch face.
Probably. Yeah. Like that
I
is
get that a lot from him too.
to quote Spock, that's illogical, what you just said. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Because my daughter has started to buy into some of the crazy uh, leftist stuff. I don't like to use the word liberal because I'm very good friends with a lot of liberals that aren't stupid or crazy, but leftists drive me insane with their crazy shit. And she walked in one day and started talking to me about the rainforest and climate change, and I looked at her and I went, "Honey, take a science class and stop talking about it." Here's my response to anybody who starts talking to me about that I find annoying. I'll ask them a question. The simple question. I said, "You cannot talk science with me or climate unless you can answer this question. What has 95 to 98% impact on climate on this planet at all times? The single most impactful thing on it.
The
It's every
sun.
day you see it." And my
The
daughter's like, "Volcanoes?" And I'm like, "Okay, you're not allowed to talk climate with me ever again." The answer is the sun.
The sun.
The sun goes into cooling down periods and heating up periods. And what scientists, climatologists fucked up was they had predicted we would have a mini ice age in the 20th century. And it should have been in 1957 is when it should have started. But
You
what did
can
we get
go to-
instead?
Whoever wants it, you can go to YouTube because I've seen it on YouTube. When I did a research when we talked about the Star Trek movies, some of them.
Right?
There's an interview from 77 or 74 with Leonard Nimoy, and he's talking about how we should conserve the blah 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 because we're just headed straight to an ice age in the next and get this, in the next 12 years. And I was like, who said the opposite like a while back and said 12 years as well? Is that
It's always
little
10 years, 10 to 12 years.
girl from Sweden, right?
And they just keep moving it forward. They keep pushing the goal line. It drives me crazy. I'm like, stop it. It's socialism is where it got started because socialists want to have control over fuel. That's what all it's about is controlling fuel, fossil fuels. And it's if you look at it and you realize what it is, because 1977 there was a research paper, an essay written that was published in one of the climate magazines, periodicals. And the guy that ran it still regrets it because he did an interview about 4 years back where he said that it's the greatest regret he has is letting that article ever be written, where this researcher had a theory that humans, if they worked together, could conceivably create enough CO2 gas on this planet to warm the planet by 3 degrees if we went into a mini ice age. By 3 degrees. That's the most we could do, doing our best to try to do it. But he said it's highly negligible if we could actually have any impact because humans have very little impact on climate. Climatologists have said that for years. We don't really impact it. Nature impacts it more than us, but the sun does all the work, and so if you talk to a real climatologist, they'll tell you that. And I took climatology in college. I was a fake student, but I took the class. I wasn't actually enrolled.
To bring it back to the movie, it's not cow farts that does it.
Right. Because I was thinking the same thing about cow farts.
in the movie.
Because here's what I say to that: they're going to get the cow farts, and when they get the cow farts, they're coming for your farts next. They're going to make us walk around with butt plugs in. You watch.
Not. It's uncomfortable.
You always
Scary,
have to go
Gary.
to the back door, Gary.
Scary.
Really?
So anyway, I want to get back to this film too, because this is such a great film. But this is ADD theater, Mephisto. All our shows are kind of
I know.
ADD.
I've watched a few of the shows. Like I said,
Well, Tom does it too. They do it over on Tom's channel too, Midnight's Edge. They'll go off on tangents. But I want to get back because we got some great cast here, because we got Annette Bening. This is actually, I consider this her last great role, this movie. And she is so good in this film. And when he turns to her and, yeah, fuck you, Tim. Is Martin here? Martin, are you here?
That's almost
Yes, barely.
Play him his video. That bastard.
What is it?
I don't know. You're in charge of this shit.
Oh, it's got a.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me. No, now go away or I shall taunt you a second time.
That's another one, by the way, Mephisto. My daughter walks around doing Monty Python quotes all the time.
I discovered a guy who does he did quotes from the Three Amigos, and he didn't even watch the Three Amigos ever.
Fuck off, really?
Yeah,
that's funny. Oh my god,
so strange! I'm telling you, it's really strange.
Hey, we've got a lot of people watching right now. I want to get into this. Who's in the chat right now? So, of course, our dear friend Snortopoopas is here. Hello, my dear friend Lauren Worth, whom I live with. Josh Coe, who is always free, and Penny, who has a grandson that is awesome. Let's see. We got Patrick Jordan, of course, the chief. Outlaw Bill is here. Holy crap. He's another one I'd like to get on the show sometime. I love that guy. Let's see. Looks like a lot of comments and nut to it. Tim is here. Is that all we have in the chat? There's so many people chatting right now. And of course, Emmanuel is here. And she, by the way, pointed out she has a daughter as well. That's a Star Wars fan. Now, does your daughter like Star Wars?
Not so much. But I'm a bit of a fascist around that subject. Ever since I discovered the despecialized stuff, it's the only thing I see.
Only thing I watch. Yes.
I don't care.
Hey, fist bump. Fist bump. Fist bump. Come on, Mephisto. Fist bump. There you go.
If I look, I'm looking in the room. Hold. I don't have it on me, but I used to have it in the room. I have 3 VHS tapes that my wife got me for one of my birthdays. When we first started dating, of the specialized version, and ever since I discovered the despecialized one, I'm not touching anything. To me,
Addy one has the best Empire Strikes Back.
It took a long time to admit it. To me, the day Star Wars died is the day George touched it. The day George
started touching it again. Yeah, it's like Star Wars.
And
tell me on the doll where George touched you.
Yeah, in a bad place. When I left, look, it used to be, and I know I'm alone at this. It used to be that Return of the Jedi was my favorite of the 3, even better than Empire. I know. But the day I switched over to I like Star Wars and not New Hope, Star Wars is the day George touched it, and I'm like, no, what the hell did you do? And people forget this, but when Phantom Menace came out, a lot of the old fans were very disappointed. What is this Jar Jar character doing on my screen?
Dude, Legacy fans had a problem with it, and I lost a friend over it because I criticized it. And he got really upset with me because he was a kid when it came out, like a teen when it came out, and he just wouldn't talk to me. We don't talk anymore. We were college roommates, and just fuck, man. Some people are very sensitive about it, and I get it. If that's your Star Wars, but for me, the thing that I like about Harry Potter that George Lucas did the opposite of is he, instead of the third Star Wars being the more mature story, became the most juvenile of the three.
I know, but I
Having
used to love
teddy
it.
bears.
I used to love it the most, and it made
It's
me
my
sad.
favorite one. I love Return of the Jedi. Love it.
Not
No,
going to criticize you personally, but when I say these things, I'm just going to say this: Han Solo was completely destroyed as a character in Return of the Jedi. The
Yes, he
minute
was.
he
well
said,
aware.
"Hey, it's me," that annoyed me. And then later, when he steps on a twig, giving up his position, I'm like,
Yeah,
that is so
they
out
they
of character.
they made him a buffoon in that movie.
Yes, and it was problematic because that's not Han Solo. I don't know what the fuck that was, but it wasn't Han Solo. And I agree with Harrison Ford. They should have
George
killed
was
him.
always a Luke guy rather than a Han guy. You know that.
Yeah, and I was a Luke guy when I was 13 when it came out, and within a year of that, I had really matured and started becoming a real teenager, and I didn't give two shits about Luke Skywalker. All I cared about was Han Solo. He was a motherfucker, and that's how I wanted to be. I'm like, be your own man, and so I started watching characters like that, not just Star Wars, westerns, war films, and instead
It's
of hanging out with other
you like
teens
the
when I was a
lovable
kid.
rogue.
Yeah,
You love the lovable rogue. The
love
one
that.
that goes full, the people who go full circle from they're capable but they don't want to, but they get forced to, and they show how really heroic they are at the end because they're capable. They're capable people.
Yeah, and I said this to Keith and I have talked about this too. Is and this goes into identity politics where because I identify with those kinds of characters because in real life that's how I've always been. I was like my sergeant in the army used to say, Gary's one of those guys. You don't break that glass until it's absolutely necessary because I don't have a fuse. I'm one of those grenades with a zero on the bottom. That means that the minute you release that spoon, it explodes. And people learned very quickly that I just go from 0 to 60 in a split second. And, and I'm just reminded of like how people were terrified of me in the army because I would do that. And because I had to beat the shit out of guys. When you're in charge, that's what you do. We call it hands-on training in the military. Somebody gets stupid, you take them to the woodshed. You just walk outside the barracks or go into a private room and beat the fucking snot out of them. And I've always been that kind of person, and so I identify with those. But here comes the identity politics. I didn't identify them because of their race. I identified with them because of their character. Because there are other characters like that I love that are of many different races. Toshiro Mifune is a hero of mine. You know that name, right?
No, I'm really bad at names.
Seven Samurai.
Oof.
He's
Really don't remember the names of Seven Samurais, but I've been dying to go back to it because I've seen it as a kid and I've seen it as an early adult, and I've never gone back, and I've always planned on going back to it because it is so good. It is really, really good. Like really good filmmaking. And I've never had I'm from Israel. I'm bilingual because my first influences were American and British TV that was on. And I quickly picked up the language where I usually don't have, when you hear me talk, I don't necessarily have that Israeli twang to my, to my speech. Sometimes it comes out, but, but one of the things that I remember was having to read subtitles for everything early days. So I'm used to reading subtitles. When I watched French films, and Japanese films, I had to read in order to understand. But even if that movie, even if you don't know the language and don't even read the subtitles, you know what they're going for. That is great filmmaking. If you don't even know the language, you don't know anything. Good example for this. Doesn't have a lot of talking anyways. Watch Sisu. If you haven't watched Sisu,
Oh, I love the film.
phenomenal movie. It's in English, but it may as well be in Finnish, and you still know what's going on. It is an amazing movie.
It's a
So-
physical story. You
Yeah.
follow the character. I tell all the time, I don't have to understand what's being said on a film because I'm following the story through their actions and the way they say things. This is Toshiro Mifune right here. Probably one of the greatest actors who ever lived. This guy right here.
It's the main guy.
Yeah, he's
Right?
in fucking films. Yojimbo, The Seven
No.
Samurai, Juro, Rashomon, and Throne
He's
of Blood.
Seven
is-
Samurai.
This is a great film that I've been wanting to show Anima. Throne of Blood is an adaptation of Shakespeare's oh shit, I just forgot the story.
Hamlet?
No.
Which one?
Macbeth.
Where he kills Macbeth, thank you.
Macbeth.
This is the Japanese interpretation of Macbeth, Akira Kurosawa's film. And it's a wonderful film. And watching his wife, that's her right here, go delve deep into insanity in the film. But the craziest scene in this film is when he freaking what is I'm trying to think of here. Oh wait, I got the wrong one. Who's looking at donuts?
Oh,
Is that you?
why is it on my screen?
I
Hold
meant to
on.
go back to Martin's screen. I don't see Martin's screen now.
Okay.
Oh, now I see it. I got it. I found it.
Sorry. I was like, no, I was looking at Twitter for a split second because I had a
Well,
message.
I've learned I don't like to keep it open, but I have to keep it up because Andy Morrow and a few other people like to message me through Facebook in particular or Twitter. And so I've got to keep it open because there may be something relevant for what we're doing. But yeah, Tim even said it there, Macbeth. There you go. But this film, let's get back to this because there's so many great things here. This is Jeter's last film before he died. And what a great actor this guy was. A lot of people knew him best from a TV series called Evening Shade. He worked with the coach, played by Burt Reynolds, and it was a good series, hit series. And Jeter got on my radar, and then he was in a little film called the Fisher King with Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges. And Jeter was just fucking brilliant in that film. And in the 90s, he had acquired the HIV virus. He was not a person who made his lifestyle known, but when he did that, he finally came out. And I think it was 98 or 99, said that, yes, I'm gay and I've been diagnosed with HIV. I seem to be doing really well with it. And he did really well with it all the way until this film. And he was dying when they made this film. He never got to see the release. And he's so essential to the story here. And he's the guy that runs the corral. And he's a middle character that connects everything. He's a connecting character. And you start discovering also these two men, Duvall and Costner, their characters have a history. They've been working together over a decade, and they don't know anything about the other, which is something that is so common with men, especially back in that day. They kept shit private.
Yeah,
they have moments where they seem like an old couple to you.
Yeah,
because they
Like,
act
old married couple. Go ahead, Martin.
because all they know about each other is the core of who they really are.
Yeah, the core.
What they don't know are their histories.
Yeah, their past. They know each other.
Yeah,
from
they
the
don't know
moment
their
they met.
past. And then they finally start learning things about each other's past. And you learn that Duvall's character he's a man about justice and doing what's right, but he's also a bit pacifistic about things, about letting dogs lie. Let sleeping dogs lie, leave them alone. Whereas Costner's character is a warrior. He's a killer. He says, I've killed men, a lot of men.
He's been to war, yeah.
And he's been to war.
Civil
And he
war.
clearly suffers from PTSD.
Yeah,
You can see it in one particular
absolutely.
scene. Where
Fuck,
he
when
almost
wakes
kills
from that night.
the woman
Oh
he's
my
in
God.
love with. He almost
Yeah.
kills her
He
because
does
he's
kill
having.
China.
Yeah, he kills the China,
But he
breaks
replaces
the
it
shit
again,
out of
so
her
it's
mother's
okay.
China.
Yeah.
He felt so bad about that he replaces it, and that's how the movie ends, by the way. It doesn't show them at the end during the
It's
titles.
a
It shows
western with a
the
romance. It's
house,
so nice.
and you see what's on the wall where they live together, and the China set that he got her, and that's all they showed. I thought that was a beautiful ending.
You
Man.
don't need more. You know.
Yeah, you got all the information you needed from these characters. They want to get away from being cowboys, and this town is the place they need, but they're going to have to fight for this town because the town is being controlled. They're oppressed people by this rancher who runs this town with an iron hand.
I love how
And
they finally stand up to him in the end. That's a great
and it's
moment.
you finally see them step out because they're afraid the good guys are going to get killed, so they step out there and they finally fight back.
Yes, because this town needs an enema.
Where is it?
We don't have that
Oklahoma
clip
or
anymore.
Montana? Where is it? Where is the
Well,
setting?
it's somewhere in the West, but it's actually shot up in Alberta, Canada, because that was
No,
the only place that looks that way.
Do they say where it is, or do they leave it open?
They say the name of the town, but I don't think they ever mention the state.
No,
And the town is
never.
fictional.
No, they just show the weather, and it's raining all the time. So it's the
And so you
mist.
know that it's either Montana, it could possibly be part of Oklahoma, but it rains so much there. Because
'Cause
a lot of people don't know Oklahoma is almost a desert.
There's the trail that goes down from Montana through Utah, right? What's below Montana? Utah. So all along the side of the Rocky Mountains, but not going over obviously. But it goes down the side and they go down to Texas and then going back up. That was like the trail,
Mhm.
right? If I'm not mistaken. It's so a very, very long trail if you do Montana to Texas. So it could be anything along the way, just anything along the way. So it could be like Colorado in some places. It could be whatever's on the way
Well,
to
the way
Texas.
this land looks, I do believe that it's either Montana or I just forgot the other state.
Utah,
No,
Idaho,
no.
Colorado.
Oh my God, my brain.
Now, I'm pretty sure that
Wyoming.
it takes place in Montana.
It's either Wyoming, Montana, with the way this place looks and the way it
Just
rains.
because of the grasslands. That's why I was asking. Because
And that's where a lot of the cattle ranching was done.
Yeah.
Is those two states. Look at that cloud out there. This was all natural. Everything that happens in this film is natural. Now, I'm going to point out too something really important about this film. Unbeknownst to the star and producer of this film, Kevin Costner, he was having appendicitis and made a bunch of this film while sick with it. And I got to tell you, that's part of his fucking performance, fighting through this fucking disease that was a diseased organ. And this scene in particular is what he shot right before he finally broke down and went to the hospital. And they said, if you'd waited another day, you'd be dead.
Jeez. See, some actors they're not pussies. Let's just say
No,
that.
Costner is a dude. He is a serious dude. When I say dudes, I call people dudes. If I call you a dude, that means I consider you a very strong person. And I only kind of want to hang out with it because a lot of people say, well, alpha males, they want to be around like betas. And I'm like, that's not true. Alpha
No,
males tend to like
wanna
to
be
be around other alpha males.
Yeah,
And
for
that's
sure.
how I like to hang out with real dudes talking about shit. Next thing you know, shit's broken because a play fight broke out. I've been in so many, I destroyed so much property from play fighting because I'm Godzilla, man. And I remember
So,
at Jason's house, Jason Stewart. God
you're,
bless you,
you're big,
Jason Stewart.
so you're big with a bad breath.
Yeah, you can say that. That
Well,
guy needs a mint. Then I'll fight him. So
maybe after
Jason
a
wanted to
couple of
fuck
weeks.
around one day, and I grabbed him, and he pushed back really hard, but I wasn't letting go of him. I had him in a full Nelson, and he couldn't get out of it.
Oh,
I had him locked in, and he pushed back, and both of us ended up going through right between two of the support beams, went right between them through the wall, but didn't fall the side. Instead, if you're in the other room and there were two people in there, they turned and all they could see was my ass and my back on the wall, like I was artwork.
My wife would have been pissed. Anyway, it was a lovely time, but I actually have to get to bed.
Thanks for hanging out, Mephisto. It was really good. 'Cause you and I
5
never
hours.
got a chance to really just talk like this.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. The problem is you start your show an hour into mine. So I want to have you as a guest, but it has to be fitting with like if you
What time? What day?
It's a Saturday.
now
show.
you want to fight him?
So
No,
yeah, let's fight, Mephisto.
No. I will not fight, but we'll make time to just talk. It could be live stream or whatever, but we'll find some time to talk. Well,
My
I can
actual siblings are Jewish.
actually share some like military stories with you. I don't have a lot, but I do have some.
But I wanted you to know my family is my siblings are all Jewish. I'm the only Irish Roman Catholic out of a family of 6 Jews.
That's okay.
And
Nobody's perfect.
nobody's perfect, but
That's a lot
there's
for
so
me,
much.
Independence Day. Sorry.
I grew up in that shit, and I even went to synagogue with my brother Michael. His last name is Abrams. We had different dads, and my mother converted to Judaism with her first 2 husbands,
Okay.
and then the last one
telling you
died.
right I'm telling you right now, they're
What?
much better Jews than I am, probably.
Well,
I'm
none of them are now. They're all of them
Great.
except my brother Michael were Catholic. My brother Michael was Christian. He became Christian, but he died. He was I say this, and my siblings might watch this show. They know he was my favorite brother that I loved hanging out with. He was my best friend. When I lost my brother, it broke me. But he
Anyway,
was so fucking Jewish. He looked like Jesus, dude. Perfect. He looked like Magnum PI, but Jewish, because he had a perfect Abram, that nose. He had the perfect nose, that just gorgeous, fucking chiseled.
I
And
know
I've
what
seen photos
you're
of him.
talking
Gorgeous. And
about. My brother.
we'd be next to each other, and people go, "You're related?"
Anyway, thank
What? No,
you.
you were saying something about your brother.
We'll shoot me a DM. My DMs are open, or the group DM. Just send me a line, and we'll find the time to talk, and we'll maybe even find the
What
time
I'm
to
going to
talk
do
about a
is
specific
I will
movie.
join you and skip half of our show, and somebody else can start the show. I will join you because I would like to do that.
We'll see what we can find for you. I may or may not have a specific spot for you, but we'll talk DMs. Okay. So
All right,
thank you,
that sounds
everybody.
good, buddy. Thanks for joining us, man.
I know I kind of got everybody distracted from this movie, but please stay, and it's a great conversation.
We'll
Everybody,
start into the film after this, but getting to know you was more important.
thank you, everybody,
Yeah,
and
well, nice, Mephisto. Thanks for coming.
we'll
By
see
the
you
way-
later.
Shalom.
Shalom.
God, I like that guy, man. He's
He's
so
cool.
fucking cool. I like it, man. I can fucking
We
hang
had
out with that.
we had
dude anytime.
100 views, and you were talking about anything but the movie. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, well, it kept tripping into things because he would say something, and I'm just like, I really wanted to just get to know him. That's why I want him to join us. And that's what's going to happen. When I'm getting to know somebody, we're going to talk. So I want to get back to this film because here it is. So she, up to this point, that before this scene, Costner and Duvall believe that she is the doctor's wife in the film. But then they
Yeah, it
learn
shows the age,
secondhand
they live together.
that she is actually the sister, the younger sister. I think younger sister, but
She looks older.
she does look older. But I think she's supposed to be the younger sister, and she helps him and lives with him. And
I
she's
don't
got
think
her
it
mother's.
matters because
See it right there? The mother's china right there on the table. Very
I don't think her
important.
age matters. What matters is that she isn't married yet.
It
so she
does
can't
matter
live on
because
her
she
own.
brings it up. She points
Yep.
it out. It is important. She knows that she is not of a marrying age. She
Oh,
is
yeah.
what she believes has passed her prime, is what she thinks. And she delivers that line, and it broke my heart when she said it. And his response to her is one of my favorite lines because a lot of people don't know that they assume that it's always been women are beautiful and men are handsome. No,
No.
it was the opposite in the 19th century and before with that word, those two words. Men were beautiful or considered gorgeous, while women were either voluptuous or handsome. And if you
And
were a
you liked
handsome
that, I
woman,
knew that.
that was a compliment to a woman. That means that you held yourself very well. And it's so weird with the advent of film that changed. And this film is a rare commodity in that this film is one of the single most historically accurate
Well,
westerns I've ever seen.
They
well,
get that
remember,
right.
Costner is kind of OCD with authenticity, especially in
And
westerns.
it's a good thing. With movies, it's a good thing. Gary, we need to stop stopping the slideshow. You
Well,
have
I
another
wanted to
show
point out
coming
the
up.
China. The China is important. And this is where he now knows she is not married. And it leads to a wonderful conversation between the two.
It's
And
No,
English,
he's,
boys.
they learned that in the bar, in the saloon.
yeah, that's what I said. They found out through secondhand that what it is. And so getting to know her becomes more important. And all of a sudden, these two guys that are cowboys traveling all the time want to set up root. And they like this town. They just don't like the guys that run it. The sheriff is
I-
crooked. He's a piece of shit. He's owned. And he knows that he admits to it.
Yep.
I know it. I know what I am. You know, and there's nobody in this film pretending to be anything they're not. And that
No,
was
that's what's
freedom.
interesting about it.
Yeah. It's like
I mean,
nobody
even
is
with that
pretending.
scene that the marshal has, like you said, I know it. He doesn't try to
I know
deny. He
what I
knows
am.
what he is.
And he knows. He knows
I
he only
love
has
that kind of
power because
honesty in the
people are
movie.
afraid of him.
Yeah, but that's the kind of people that lived back then. That,
Yeah.
you know, and it was so easy back then to spot frauds. And you know, Missouri is known for that. I mean, you know our state motto, right? Which I call bullshit on. It's called the show me state. The state's motto. It's like, I'll believe you when I see it, is what that means. Show me. And but you've got some of the worst con men in this state. And Brad Lauren will probably back this up. They do construction here, and the state doesn't make them do things that you should do when you're building a house or constructing a building. Putting rebar and chicken wire in your concrete is essential for longevity. And they'll get away with it here. And you'll see driveways in this state. And so for the state that dares to call itself show me, we allow way too many con men in this state when it comes to business. And a lot of business people here are absolutely money grubbers. You'll see occasional stores here, privately owned, run by really decent people, and those tend to be the ones I'll gravitate towards in Missouri. I love mom and pop stores. I love local stores. I do shop at Walmart if I need something I know I'm going to need large amounts and I don't want to spend a lot of money. Because you are going to spend more money when you go to a mom and pop operation. But this movie kind of represents that kind of stuff. In Missouri, is where the Old West began. A lot of people don't know that. Missouri. The Missouri Breaks. I'm sure you guys have heard of that. They even made a movie about it with Jack Nicholson. A lot of fucking gunfights in the state.
Oh, I
But
remember,
the very first gunfight of the Old West, Springfield, Missouri, right here.
yeah.
Very first. Hickok shot a guy 70 feet away with his fucking Colt on the square. Told him, he says, next time I see you, I'm going to shoot you. Guy shows up, pulled out a weapon, and because he saw Hickok first. And Hickok turned, drew, and fucking shot him 70 feet away. Killed him dead, one shot. Hickok was a fucking good shot. He was a buffalo hunter. That guy grew up and lived with weapons all the time.
Dude,
And
you had
you
to
learn.
be an excellent shot, because in those days weapons were not as precise as today. So
And that's why I love, because riflings is when you started seeing more accuracy. Like the pistol that he's carrying, Pathwaite is his last name. Is that it? Pathwaite. He's got a weird, funny last name. And Costner's character carries it's an Army Colt. And I'm going to tell you now, that fucker's accurate as shit. I fired him. It's a great weapon. It's one of the few pistols designed, well, not a few, but one of the best pistols that when you squeeze the trigger, you can fan and just keep shooting. And there's one guy, a modern shooter today, a shootist, as they called him back in the day. He takes his Colt and he does a 3 to 4 finger swipe. He'll squeeze the trigger and fire like a machine gun. I've never seen that before until that guy.
That's the same guy who make demonstrations shooting at balloons, and he can shoot two balloons almost at the same time. You have to use high-speed cameras.
And the guy's kind of weird because he likes to play the part too. I like to take videos with him with a cigarette halfway out of his mouth and sunglasses and a cowboy hat. And I'm like, be the part, don't play the part. You don't have to do that. That's showing off. I don't like that. But I do like his shooting, man. He is incredible. I've never seen anybody that is as accurate as him and as fast as him. Hey, Vinkman's girl is here. I buy my subs from the corner store.
She has been for
way
a while.
better than Subway.
In
we
fact,
have one here in Missouri.
She made a bridge.
Yes, and a good
Oh, well, before you make the thing, I wanted to let her know we have a sub shop here in Springfield area that's starting to branch out around the country, but it started right here, called Something in Sense. Do you guys know the sub shop in town? Something Sense? Good Sense, Mr. Good Sense. Yep, they make pasta and they make subs, and I love it, man. And they make their own meatballs for their pizza. I mean, for their spaghetti. Good stuff. And I consider their stuff way better. And also soups. They got some great soups. Soup of the day. If you've never check to see if you've got one in your area, because it started here in Missouri and they've grown. And Mr. Good Sense has some of the best food for the money. So let's give her a back door.
Open your back door, baby. Loosen your hinges, I'll show you my key.
I'll show you my key.
What's your key here? Keep it in.
What?
I'm certain there's going to be time that I'm going to hear these words from Anna. Put that away. Put it away.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at it. Put it away.
Like, you keep talking about a certain scar, Gary.
Oh, the scar on my dick.
I am going to say these words. I'm pretty sure.
And if anybody in the audience ever have a doubt, this is not a kid show.
This is not. No, we are not. This is.
And if you stick around, you're going to hear all the fucked up stories.
But
actually,
getting back to
Fridays,
this,
that's where you get the crazy stories.
That was Jeter, by the way, and they actually kind of make friends in the bar with a few of the locals.
Yeah,
but Jeter is the one that really connects with them, really likes them, and Jeter is the guy that when Costner's character believes there's a really good chance he's about to fucking die. He's going to go out there, he's going to kill these guys, put a hurting on him, but he was likely not coming back. So he gave him the money or said, sell my horse and use that money to buy this for her. And this is my favorite. It's called the Princess Chinaware one.
But
And
what
that's
do
what
I
you
know?
see. But what do I know? I love the characters and the way they talk. And when they, right at the end, these guys have worked together for over a decade. And they don't know each other's
names,
last names.
Names, yeah.
You know, and he says, well, I'm not leaving this world until I know, you know, the guy I'm standing with last name. And he looked at him and said, I don't want to tell you. He says, I'm not doing this until you tell me your last name. Because the fight's about to begin.
Mm.
And so he says, my name's Bluebonnet. He's like,
no. Like, he that is his first name because he said
his first name is Bluebonnet.
Sure as hell it's not Boss.
Me, don't tell anybody.
Sure as hell it's Boss. That's right. You don't tell anybody. He makes a big deal out of it. Don't tell anybody. And God damn it, man. And so he tells him his name, which is Postlethwaite. That's it. Postlethwaite is Costner's last name in the film. And he goes, wow, okay. And so they ate some chocolate, Swiss chocolate, and
that had melted because they
smoked
waited
some
too
cigars. For what was probably their last meal, you know, enjoyed a cigar. And there's just so much great dialogue in this film. And he says, well, that was a good cigar. I guess we better get to it. It's just like, oh my God. They're getting ready to go to fucking war.
3 Cuban cigars and 2 Swedish chocolate, and it made a whole lot of $5 whooping dollars.
You know, they were highly energized at this point.
Oh, yeah.
It really helped. And there he is from Andor.
Button.
And his character's name is Button, nickname. You call him Button. You don't know what his real name is.
No.
And he's the only one, the 2 cowhands that survived. The other guy got killed defending him.
And the dog. They shot the dog.
And they killed the dog. That's when you knew these guys have to die. They killed the dog.
Yeah. when I was watching the movie, when I saw the dog shot, I said, "Oh my God, this is the OG John Wick."
Yep, it's John Wick, the Western.
Yeah.
And there's that table. And I love the lighting on this, by the way. That's a style of lighting made famous by Vermeer. And I love it when film directors, Ridley Scott is notorious for using that kind of lighting. It's called side lighting or iridescent lighting from outside an outside source, lighting an entire wall that gives it this almost milky light color. It's always gorgeous. He used it in Blade. Actually, just used it recently again. What was the last film he did? Shit, I forgot it. But Scott's known for it, and Costner likes it too, apparently. So he hired the right DP for this film to bring that kind of lighting. Who's here?
I wouldn't know.
Wilkie's? I didn't see that one. Oh,
Wilkie's
our buddy Slasher Fred is here.
Oh, yeah.
Slasher Fred, good to see you, my bud. We got to do a horror film soon just for him.
Gary, Wilkie's Movies and Music, that's on Deleted Scenes channel.
Oh, okay. So it's coming. What? But I still should see it. They usually show both of them.
It appears. I saw him. I even brought up one of his comments. Here. Is this?
Yeah, I keep seeing all kinds of comments.
I'm not seeing it, though. Star that comment. Star it so I can go look at it.
Oh, so what are you implying? That StreamYard is hicking up? No.
Yeah, see, I can see him now. Okay. All right, good.
And
oh yeah,
and then Musker, and she's entertained by our misadventures with software.
This is a great comment from Patrick Jordan. He's doing his show tonight on KGRA. It's so cool. We do a show together on Pop Culture Minefield, and we both do shows on KGRA too. I love that. We're brothers on 2 different channels. And by the way, if you guys didn't know, I did a whole show with Doomcock on Monday on KGRA. I should
And I wish I could
put
have
that on
watched it
Twitter.
all.
That was a lot of fun, and we had fun. And you know what? Don Ecker, in the middle of Doomcock and I talking after the show was over, he like left. And I thought, oh, that was
What?
weird. He just kind of split. But then he messaged me. He says, I left because it seemed like you two wanted to talk.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh, man, you should have stuck around. There was conversation that you would have enjoyed. But I like Doomcock. I really do. We have had a great conversation.
I'm
He's a
so
fun
happy
guy.
that show finally happened.
He is.
You had that in the works.
People
for
don't
so
know he
long.
comments on my page all the time. And I rub elbows with a lot of big names. And I don't care that we're a middle of the road fucking show, because I think we have the best audience, the best chat.
Oh, we do.
And I'm not just saying it because you guys are here, but I am kind of blowing smoke up y'all's asses. But I think we do have one of the best chats. Midnight's Edge, I think, has the greatest chat in the group. But a lot of you
Yeah,
guys
The
are
chat
in
is so
that chat.
huge.
That's the
Midnight's Edge
problem.
problem is that the chat is so
They
huge.
get
and
over
so
200
fast.
people
Yeah.
talking,
So
and it's just,
they can't interact like we can with you guys.
yeah, but ours is moderate. You know, we've only got maybe 16 people at the most in the
That
chat.
are active, yeah.
Yeah, we got people watching, but it's the chat that gets active that I love the most. And I just love our fucking chat. And it's the thing I look forward to. That's why I started the morning shows. I
Oh,
stopped
here,
doing
this
them.
we need
Oh,
to address this scene. That's when they declared their love, and she
Oh,
gave
yeah.
her
they're having
engaged
feelings.
in the locket.
Oh, yeah, and he says,
Annette Bening is so beautiful. You know, I still think she's gorgeous. Man, Warren Beatty was so fucking lucky
that
that he got a
dialogue
woman
right
like
there
that.
is so amazing. Because he thinks that's her and he compliments her. And she says, like, no, that's my mom, actually, when she was younger. And then he wants to refuse it. And she says, you don't have a choice when it's a gift. You don't get to choose whether you accept it or not. And that's so right. And he accepts it. I like that scene.
I do too. These characters are just so real and so believable. That's
And
the thing about
feelings
this
are
movie.
real.
Everything feels so real watching this film.
Yeah.
I know it's a fucking movie. I know it. I'm aware of it while watching it.
It's
But I lose
realistic.
myself. I lose myself in this film so many times with these characters. Duvall's character right there, and he's starting to get up. I brought breakfast. And they use something that technically is dangerous as hell. It's that liquid that you knock people out with.
Chloroform.
Chloroform, yeah.
And chloroform can kill you. People don't realize that. It can attach itself to your red blood cells
He
and
knocks them
block
out
oxygen.
with it multiple times, though.
Yeah, I know. He just keeps
He's
knocking
like,
them out, and they're
brought breakfast. Go
breakfast.
back to sleep.
Fucking just the comedy in this, the seriousness, just
Apparently,
everything.
chloroform also makes you nauseous as fuck when you wake up. So
Jawbreakers. I love this because Jawbreakers started coming out
are they?
after the Civil War.
What are they?
It's
They
a
don't sound
very
tempting.
large, hard candy that
Oh,
people can break their teeth on because
okay.
it's such a hard candy. And I used to like them when I was a kid, but it really makes you sound stupid when you try to talk with it. Worst part is you salivate so much. I've drooled while I was talking with a mouth with a jawbreaker in my mouth.
The least appealing name we have for sweets in German is for caramel candies that are so sticky that the German word we use is Plombenreißer, and it means they pull your fillings out of your teeth. That's how.
Yeah,
sticky
you got to
they
be careful.
Yeah.
I had a crown that got pulled off. I lost the crown from
But you have
caramel.
Amish dentures, Gary.
What? I've got all my teeth. Well, what's left? I've had a few broken. That's my gap got bigger because that Dutchman elbowed me and splintered
Damn, Lauren.
this dude right here. The Gobstoppers are great, though. They are good, man. I love Willy Wonka's candies, man.
I love it when Lauren butts in like this. That's fun. Oh, fuck off.
Atomic
Rocket
Fireball.
TV.
Yes.
Stop it.
I tried one of those once, and I'm like, it's just too much flavor. And once again, I know it's got too much flavor when I drool. It's when it's in my mouth, and I go to open my mouth, and I got like it wanting to go out of my lip, and I'm like, okay, I can't eat this candy. I like the never-ending gobstopper. I think it's the full name, right? Never-ending gobstopper. Because supposedly, in Willy Wonka the movie and in the books, they never go away. It's everlasting gobstopper. I love those things as a kid. Okay, this is the scene right here. This is, in my opinion, one of the greatest scenes between two characters ever filmed. Is this scene where they're hiding behind this wagon? They know the gunfight's about to start, and they've done one really smart thing. They drugged the deputies and the sheriff, so they're not part of it. But they eventually get out there and become part of it. But that's at the point where the town begins to fight back. But this scene with these two just talking to each other is one of the best intimate moments between two grown men just talking. And I can't even think of a good scene like this that nothing comes to mind. And
they know they're at a breaking point. They either die together there, which is very likely, or they finally turn their lives around.
They've assumed that they're going to die. But if I don't die, if there's a miracle out there that keeps us alive,
this is the place where it's going to happen.
I want to buy a bar.
Yeah.
I want a bar. I want to own a bar.
To be honest, I think I forgot the names. The older character, he really is ready to start this. Costner, on the other hand, he's like, yeah, I would love to, but I'm not in a place yet. But in the end, when all of that is over, the other guy tells him,
it's Blue Bonnet Spearman. And
who calls his son Blue Bonnet? What the fuck?
I know, it's just good shit. And
Matinee, you seriously
Kevin
asking
Costner's,
this in times like this where people go for original names and individual names and they're just stupid as fuck, really? Looking at you, United States. You allow
Blue Bonnet.
Blue Bonnet. And his name, Kevin Costner's Charlie. He's known as Charlie, but his last name is Postlethwaite. Now on IMDb, they have it listed as Waite, but it's actually Postlethwaite with a TH before the W. They built this town. This is where a lot of the budget went. And they paid a lot of carpenters. So when you see in the credits, there's just a shit ton of carpenters listed in the credits. It's an inordinate amount. It's just like, I've never seen so many fucking carpenters mentioned in a film. So they're sitting there smoking the cigars, and then Charlie remembers his he put that chocolate in his shirt pocket. He pulls it out and it's soft.
It's melted.
He goes, oh no, it melted. So he starts dipping his finger in eating the chocolate, and he goes, still pretty damn good.
Here is a guy.
This is
last will.
This guy is such a good actor. We lost. AIDS killed that guy, and it shouldn't have. It was already in the 2000s. We were already at a point where people weren't dying, and we still lost him. What a great fucking actor. And if you don't believe me, go watch The Fisher King. He's one of the best parts of that film. It's not Robin Williams. Robin's great, and so is what's her name? Plays the girl he's in love with. The daughter of another
Amanda Plummer.
Yeah, Amanda Plummer, Christopher Plummer's daughter. She's so good in that fucking movie. But it's him that stole the show from me. And so you also got Mercedes.
Coates.
What?
This guy, Kim Coates. He's not for a long time in this movie, but it's awesome.
No, he's only in the film for 5 minutes. But he steals the show. It's like, because he's this character he's the one who killed their dog and their friend.
Yep.
And he says, I'm the one. He says, you the one who killed him? Killed my friends? Says, yeah, I shot the big guy and a dog. I enjoyed it too.
And he's proud of it, so he needs to go on camera. And
he does instantly. He's the first one shot. He turns that guy's head into a fucking canoe. He just walking towards him. He says, "You the one who killed my friends?" He delivers his cocky line. He goes,
It's so
"Okay," and just fucking shoots him right in the fucking head. That's when you know the fight is on.
Yeah, and I think that's when the town people realize that this is
Patrick
real.
said
this
this
is our
earlier
chance.
Patrick said this in the chat earlier, that this is one of the best gunfights ever put to film, and such a small budget, man, and they did so much with that budget. Costner is fucking. I don't care. There are people out there who don't like him. I love this guy. I really do. He's what I refer to as a conservative liberal. And he's right in that moderate range where I like the shit he has to say about things. I agree with a lot of it. And politically, and I love the characters he chooses to play. You know, that's one thing he has pushed since the 80s. These are the kinds of characters I want to play. I want to play this character. I want to play that character.
And that's
he
what
got
I
pissed
love
when
about him.
he got pissed when his role got diminished to just a dead body, because he was actually cast for the best friend that kills himself in oh my god, the 30s movie where everybody's 30 years old, The Big Chill. Great soundtrack. And if you look, that's him that they're dressing at the beginning of the film. But he did do a scene, and it just ended up on the cutting room floor, where you got to see Costner in the movie. And he wanted that role, and he trained for the next film with him, which was the big Hollywood Western of the 80s. Had Kevin Kline in it, Sam Shepard. Oh God, it's for his name from Lethal Weapon. Too old for this shit. He was in it.
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover, thank you. Silverado, man. And again, they built that town for that movie, because where they were wanting to shoot, there were no old Western towns. So they had to build it. And it finally got destroyed in another film. They destroyed it. But I think they went and built it back up, because some of the stuff still exists to this day. And this gunfight is all over the place. I love that the town is muddy, and because that's believable. When he shoots at that guy at the water trough is fucking cool, because the guy knows that bullet ain't going to go through the water, so he's trying to hide behind the water.
What also is really cool is that these guns are loud.
Oh yeah.
A lot of smoke, and they are loud. And I was like, dude, this is so real. This is so cool.
Well, the other thing that's real is the sound of bullet impact. And what they did is they actually recorded the sound of those bullets hitting objects and used that for the sound effects in this film. So everything is very realistic and believable. This is one of my favorite moments that ended up on one of the posters. That shot of him loading that weapon is cold. And these old timber buildings, very realistic for the time. You could sometimes see through the slats. So he tracks one guy, Spearman does, and blasts him with a shotgun through the wall. So you see a big chunk of wall going with the guy, because he was leaning against the wall. And he shot point blank by 2 fucking 12 gauge. That's 1870s 12 gauge.
My only nitpick really is, as well as the buildings are done, the wood looks too new. It would be way more withered in reality.
You know,
it looks too new.
It's a newish town. It's not been around for long.
Yeah,
so
Yes, in fact, they're even expanding the saloon, and you can see how they are building.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they're building onto it.
Yes, they are. But all the buildings
I think
look
that's
a little
excusable.
too perfect. But it is absolutely, yeah. Given the budget.
There he is.
We ourselves yet.
He's like, get out there, and he goes, man, we were drugged. We ain't ourselves yet.
We're still feeling weird.
And oh my God, there he is. There's Jeters. God, I love that guy. What a great actor. I'm so glad his last movie was this movie.
one scene that gave me goosebumps is when the kid Button suddenly walks out with his head all bandaged up, and somehow he got
Oh
a gun
my
and
God.
starts firing at people, and you're like, oh
He's
no,
in the
you're going to
middle
get
of the
yourself killed.
gunfight.
Yes.
And he's what
For
they're
some reason.
fighting over. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
And
You're
all
the
the
reason
bullets are
we're
missing
fighting.
him. He drops because he starts
Well,
bleeding again, but all the bullets are missing.
he wanted
for some
revenge.
reason.
They killed his
Yeah.
friend.
But still, that is one scene where you're like, dude, man.
I always
oh,
felt
no.
he really put everybody at risk when he came out there.
Yes.
Yeah,
he did.
yeah, he did.
But then he had a head injury. He wasn't thinking clearly. They should have
Yeah.
probably put him in restraints or
Yeah.
something. They just left him unsupervised. And that's dangerous with somebody who, I guess in these modern times, you would call it TBI. So it was dangerous to leave him alone.
Now, this is a good bit that we just passed with Ian Tracy, who's a Canadian character actor. He actually was a kid actor. He played Huckleberry Finn on the Tom Sawyer TV series that Showtime ran back in the 80s. This guy goes back forever, and for me anyway. And this is a good little bit here where basically Charlie did the whole thing where he did that really quick blam, 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 blam. He basically gets like 10 shots out of the 6-shooter. But anyway, this guy is like all full of holes trying to crawl away, and Charlie goes after him, and boss has got to pull him back. It's like, dude, we're going to kill him, but we ain't murdering him. It's like,
and that's the difference between Spearman and Thwaite is that he means to kill these guys and not let them live. I don't want to be looking over my shoulder.
The way he kills this one with the bolt pistol.
He's got her hostage, the woman he loves, and he just walks around with his pistol at his side and then listens and just fucking shoots him. And then when she is able to move away, he unloads another 2 shots into him and just smokes him and is so icy cold. And that's when he realizes, I just did that in front of the woman I love.
And she's really not scared of him because she trusts him.
But the dude you were talking about, by the way, he was a cop in a series I like called Taken. It was an alien abduction series that it didn't get the length it deserved as far as seasons.
We have a dragon
My
in the
favorite
house.
this movie is if you're going to pick your feet like a monkey, do it downwind.
That was such a good scene.
Oh, he was in Continuum. And he's in Time Cop.
Yeah.
He's in Stakeout with Emilio Estevez and Richard Dreyfuss. I didn't like that movie. I'm sorry. I don't like the second film because it had Rosie O'Donnell in it, but the first one was good. He was he's in a lot of episodic television. He's in 7 episodes of the new Billy the Kid series. He was in Peter Pan and Wendy film. He's in The Good Doctor, Hudson and Rex, Law and Order. That new series I won't watch. Just bullshit. Alert Missing Persons Unit. I love Scott Conn, and that's why I watch the show. And I got 1 episode 3/4 of the way, and I went, I'm done. They're doing shit nobody does. Nobody would ever fucking do. And that's not how fucking law enforcement works. And using CODIS and all that shit. They just like, it's a ridiculous show. Ridiculous and unbelievable and poorly developed. Bad showrunners.
Heard of it.
Bad showrunners. Bad. No. See what else he was in that I liked. Oh, he was in Project Blue Book, 10 episodes. That's right. He was the fixer on the show.
Dude,
I love
look
that
at
series.
that guy. Oh,
that dude. Yeah.
No. That is Death. We all know that he's Death from Supernatural. But no, the guy that sold him the chocolate and the cigars, he looks so much like a younger Donald Pleasance.
Yeah. Bald too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of great character actors in this.
That was played Ralph. That's Ralph, the guy that runs the shop. Cliff Saunders. And like I said, I love Annette Bening, and I think she's a better actor than some of the shit she's gotten stuck in. And this was her last great film, 2003.
Oh, that's where the kid just went down again. And nobody knows, was he shot or whatever? And then she's close to him and says, no, he's just bleeding. But it's bad.
And it's all because of this guy's greed and greed for power, greed for property, greed for everything. The guy is a covetous motherfucker, the opposite of Spearman. And Spearman has to kill him.
He's just in power because everybody's afraid, and he knows it, and he knows someday this is going to be his downfall, and this is it. We're there now.
Even his daughter hates him. You learn that in the film.
Everybody hates him.
Wants nothing to do with it, but Spearman says, Funny's really particular, so no, she needs to be told that he's dead. You know, I love that about Spearman's character, that he's that conscientious. But fucking Spearman lays into him. Just fucking kills him.
I think the line is Kin is funny about those things.
Oh my god! And for what? More cows? I like that line. What a great line! You're nothing. And he says, "I'm more than you." And he says, "Yeah, well, I'll be breathing in a few minutes. You won't."
The shoot down between those two, where they just empty their guns into each other or towards each other, not into each other.
I'm not wasting a good bullet to ease your sufferment. Damn.
And then he realizes. Then he realizes the doctor is watching him. And I like the way he just turned and just says, I can't remember what the fuck he said to him, but he just acted like I'll get you out of there, or whatever the fuck it was. It just, he didn't care if anybody was watching when he said that. That was him talking from the soul. And there he goes. The townspeople chasing that gangly looking weird dude. And they kill the fuck out of him.
They kill Death.
Yep. They kill the fuck out of him. I mean, he drops to the ground and they just fucking everybody shooting into the ground at him. And I'm like, yeah, I think he was dead with the third shot there. You didn't, the other 15, 20, just overkill.
Catharsis, my friend. Catharsis.
And he's been hitting the leg. He's hurt. But he won't go to the doctor. He goes and goes into that bar because he's not going to do anything until he knows she's okay with him. Because he's afraid that he's lost her now because she's seen that side of him. This is good stuff.
I mean, she had to prove it more than once that she's really not bothered by his past and not scared of him, because she's been waiting so long to finally love again. But now it's the time.
Well, she had given up on it. She just didn't think it would happen.
Yeah, and then it happened.
Which reminds me, yeah, that reminds me. I need to get this for you, Martin. I don't know. Did I already do this? Give you the link to that video?
No.
Getting it now. All right, here you go. It's in the private chat. And by the way, Dragon Ruse, it's good to see you, man. There you go. You can download that and then upload it here into our videos. Why didn't it send? It won't send. There it goes.
Okay.
It took forever. Oh.
Yes, Dragon Ruse, it is a very good line. I also love the scene where they knock him into the stream and he's like, "What? I apologize." That's so funny.
And he says, well, clearly he's not over it yet.
But what a fun movie. And dude, I have to say that movie is 2.5 hours long almost. So going into this, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but even though
I do not like, no, let me finish. I do not like movies that are long. I never felt like that watching this. It's just that
no,
good.
that's the thing. It's 2.5 hours and you get to the end and you're like, oh my God, because there was so much, even though it's mentioned, yeah, it's a slow burn film, but the thing is, something's always happening in the story.
Yeah, and
because
then it's over. You're like, I don't want it to end.
Because you know how that is. You sit down for with somebody and have a great conversation, like we had earlier with Mephisto. And an hour went by, and I'm like, he's got to go, and I'm like, oh man, we were having a good time, and I didn't mind that we weren't talking about the film because we were having a great conversation.
She's
But
like,
there
I
he
don't
goes.
care what you have done. I'm riding that mustache.
Yeah.
Well, it is a great mustache.
Anybody want mustache rides? Oh, I do. I do. What movie is that from?
I don't know.
Martin? Anybody?
I don't know.
Steven?
Okay,
Drawing a blank.
The video is here.
Okay, I'm going to find this video. Anyway, it's
We
super
need
creepy.
to know now.
We need to what?
We need to know
Super-
what movie that's from.
It's super,
Oh,
I told
right.
you, it's Super Troopers. Because they arrest
Oh,
that.
right. When they have the European guys, the European couple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his girl, and he's instead of having them in the jail cell, he brought them home, and they're in the bedroom with like feathers and leather and everything. But you think it's children because you can hear the bed springs. Somebody's jumping on the bed, and he's talking to his wife about serious stuff. And then he turns and he says that line. He goes, "All right, who wants a mustache ride?" Ooh, I do.
That's the one I really didn't enjoy, right?
I don't know
Yeah.
if you enjoyed it or not. You just didn't get it. And I'm like, that's okay. You don't have to get
Oh,
every film. This is oh my God. I
yeah.
love this
This is
fucking
the
moment. And she says, because he disappeared for a little bit there. He's still limping because that's going to permanent limp. He's going to limp the rest of his life the way he was shot.
I had a hard
And
time figuring out how much time has passed. Apparently not that long.
it's still not that long, but it's been long enough that he's been gone for a bit. And she's there gardening, and he walks up, and I had to think about it, and I realized, I'm in love with you, and I don't know if it means anything to you, but I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And she's like, I'm a woman that's over the age of marriage, and
I'm not a
and
girl
he
anymore.
delivers,
That's what she says.
yeah, I'm not a girl anymore. And he says her name and says, "You are the most handsome
Do you
woman.
know how old I am? She's saying that
Yeah.
precisely.
You're the handsomest woman I ever saw." And that at that period of time is probably the best compliment you could give to a woman.
And also, it hits you at that moment. They have never even kissed.
Yep.
Nothing
No,
has been going
and
on
he asked
between them.
permission.
Just feeling.
He asked permission because a gentleman does that.
And it's so cute. And awkward, but cute.
Because he may be like a rough and tumble kind of guy, but he is a gentleman too. He doesn't like
That's what
bad
he says
behavior.
when he finally kisses her. He has 1,000 more like this or something.
I want 1,000 more like this
Oh yeah,
before I die.
That was so sweet.
And she does. She keeps pecking him during the
Oh,
film.
yeah.
Just keeps giving him little smooches. And I'm not a love story guy, but I fucking love the love story in this. It's good stuff. This is classic Western material. And this is where the wrap up. This is called the wrap up in the story, where all your characters are talking about where we're going and what's going to happen next. They'll even do that with other movies where you have a narrator and words on the screen. In 10 years later, he was dead, shot dead in a,
I
that
think
kind of
it's much
stuff.
better that way.
I like it this way,
Yeah.
where it's just a clean wrap up where they just talk about, well, what are we doing now? Well, I bought this bar and I need a partner. I can never afford that kind of money. I can't afford that. Because you let the boss worry about that.
Yeah, because his name is the boss for all these guys.
That's all he calls him the whole film.
At first I thought they were going away for like one last job and she was going with them. But obviously she's not because he keeps sending her back. You don't want to lose the sight of rooftops. That's what he says. And she doesn't want to leave him, but they do apparently one last job and then they go back and have
Well, they got to finish that drive.
Yeah.
And once they finish that drive, they're done. And
I had the
Spearman's taking
feeling
that
she
money.
was going to go with them, but she's not.
Because if you didn't know this, Spearman's the one that owns the cattle.
Mhm.
He was going there to sell them. and
They need to
he
be
took that
delivered,
money and
yeah.
he bought the bar. I told that to Mac one time. I said, if I ever had the money, I would open a pub here in town, a real Irish pub. Probably be a mixture of Irish and English, because I love the way in English pubs back when I lived there, they all had jazz bands after 9. Great jazz. But I'd want to have rock, because I like rock. Don't get me wrong, I love jazz, but I would rather have a club playing a little bit of classic rock.
I think that's the thing about
And
pubs.
here's
You
the
really,
China.
they have live music.
Here's the
They have
China.
live music. You choose, and there's the China. Yeah.
And I got to tell you, even Anima admitted this is much better than the China she had before.
Yeah, well, but I also get the emotional value because it was her mom's China and probably the best China.
Speaking
they
of
had at the
China.
time. Jesus Christ, Tim, really? You had
Tim,
to.
you know you would prefer to go to an English pub or an Irish one.
Well.
'Cause
You
what's
can,
great about those pubs is the food, because it's not just the beer. Getting Guinness on tap is like essential.
you
I
could
was
gonna say
do.
something, Martin?
I
Yes,
was
you
just
could
going
do.
to say, I know the Chinese have beer, but then there's Guinness, and that's something else.
You
so,
could
yeah,
do a Mongolian theme pub, and have the Who playing in the background.
I'm a very big fan of Tsingtao beer. It's really good.
It's
It's a
good, yeah, but then there's
malted liquor
Guinness.
made of rice.
Come on, Gary. Guinness is different.
Well, Guinness
I
is
go to-
real. The
I go
only
to a pub, I
Guinness
want
I've never
Guinness.
had is the one that's made in South Africa, and it's made with sorghum.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I've been told that it's just so good, and I'm like, why won't they sell that here? You can only buy it there. I heard that you can get it in Europe in some places, but to me, if I opened a pub, you've got to have Guinness, and I would have probably 3 or 4 other dark stouts for people to have. I'd probably even go local, because we have a local brewery, Springfield Brewery, and I'd probably use them because I like working local. But then I would have traditional Irish whiskeys. I mean, I didn't even know if I'd have vodka. I'd Irish,
No,
Scottish, Irish, Scottish, and English stuff. That's
Whiskey,
the stuff
beer,
I
and
drink.
some traditional food. That's what I'd go for.
Absolutely, got to have pasties, as some people call them, meat pies. Love those things. My favorite
Kidney
steak and kidney
pies.
pie.
Yeah.
But there is a really delicious pie that I got the recipe for. That's Guinness. The gravy is made with Guinness, and it's really
The Guinness that
it's
you
so
get
good.
now are the real Guinness, because the
Guinness.
commercial Guinness is weak. It's weak.
No, you get
If
real
you
Guinness.
close your eyes and take a sip, it tastes like any blonde beer. And I
Well,
don't
they
like that.
changed it though, honey.
I
Even
know.
in Ireland, it used to be
I
about
know.
11% alcohol. Now it's 5.5. I think it's everywhere. It's uniform, because
I told
they kept
you.
making it for the United States, and the stuff we get in the States was 5.5, where they were serving 11 in Ireland. But now all of them are 5.5.
I told you I got to know Guinness when I went to Ireland. I
Hey,
was 16, and I'm
guys.
not going to say in what year that was, but it was the 90s. So I got to know the real Guinness, and then it changed. And, it doesn't taste dark and
Guys.
intense anymore.
Martin,
Let's run the music video and then wrap the show, because we have another
Oh yeah,
show
we have
coming
another
up.
show coming up. That's true.
yeah, in just 50 minutes. So let's see.
56, be precise.
You close your doors before they've even opened. This is your standard way of how you're operating. You keep hoping for that day, but now you're just getting older. Hope seems lost and you plan to live your life this way. There's no news, you're still alone, and there's been no one even calling, as you are always my faithless heart. You are my faithless heart. Tell me now, what do you believe in? My faithless heart, always in a constant state of need. faithless heart, tell me now, is your heart still aching? My faithless heart in a constant state of breaking. Oh, my faithless heart, you are my faithless heart. Then she spilled her coffee on all your papers, 'cause you'd be the one to take your heart the distance. You try to write a song, but your thoughts start straying. You try to tell her how you feel, and the words get in the way then. It's no news, she's still alone. There's been no one even calling, as you are always my faithless heart. You are my faithless heart, tell me now, what do you believe in? My faithless heart, always in a constant state of leaving. You are my faithless heart, tell me now, is your heart still aching? My faithless heart in a constant state of playing. Oh, my faithless heart, you are my faithless heart. Self-sabotaging all the time, that's your method of operation. There's no word for your cynicism. Good thing she's doing all the believing in you. You are my faithless heart, tell me now, what do you believe in? Faithless heart, my faithless heart, always in a constant state of need. You are my faithless heart, tell me now, is your heart still aching? My faithless heart in a constant state of breaking. Oh, you are always my faithless heart, my faithless heart. But there is still hope for you, and it begins with her. My faithless heart.
And that's it.
Nice.
It's probably one of the
I'm-
prettiest songs I ever wrote. Wrote that in 1989, and then I went back to the song and I reworked some of the lyrics and kept the chorus. The chorus is exactly as it's always been, but I wrote more to the verses, and so that's the finished product. Hey, Jamie G, what's up? Thank you. I'm going back, and what I'm doing is going back to my songbook, songs I've been writing since the 80s, and I'm looking at them, whether they're worth time. And that was one of them that I've always liked. I remember when I worked in a nursing home, and they had a upright piano in there, and I'd go in there and I'd play my music for them, and old ladies would sit around and listen. And oh, that was so pretty. I'm like, thank you. That's what a giant fucking man wants to hear.
By the way, Shenotsky's here.
Oh, I saw that. Constant State of Agony describes the Star Wars fandom.
With that
Be like
statement,
me. Stop fucking caring, because that's not Star Wars. I don't care anymore. I have Star Wars, real Star Wars, the de-specialized Star Wars films, the first three. That's all I care about. And I enjoyed parts of the prequel trilogy, but overall it was a big disappointment to me, because I don't like prequels to begin with. It's like, we're going to do a movie about the butler doing it, where they killed everybody, right? Now I want to do a sequel. Why the butler did it. It's like when I heard that they were doing a prequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I was like, well, I don't want to watch it. And they're like, why? It's going to be good. It's going to be. I said, you're thinking about the horror aspects of it, and you're just excited about that. When I look at that, I go, none of the bad guys are going to fucking die because you know it's a prequel.
Exactly.
Leatherface, his dad, and his brother, they're not fucking going to get stopped and killed in this movie. So if you know the fucking ending of the film, why bother?
Now, Chinatsky for
Better
that.
Call Saul. There you go. That is one of the few that I thought was really well done. Because we don't know much about Saul and the people around him. And there was a constant sense of menace with certain characters because you knew they weren't from the show, Breaking Bad. So any one of them could die. And we just kept worrying that the girl he was in love with, that she was going to die. But you find out in the end, she did survive. And she was waiting for him, and she was going to work on getting him out of prison in the final episode. What a fucking great ending. You know, you don't get prequels very often that are that good. So, you were going to say something?
For his Star Wars, yes, for his Star Wars comment, I have this.
It's hopeless. We'll never.
He won that.
He'll never make it, Gulliver. He's got, because you know I love Chinatsky. I love him. And, but I love the fact that he was born with a sardonic voice. Oh, you know, it sounds that way all the time. And it's just, I think it's fun when he starts talking. He'll get on a little rant. I fucking love that shit. That's why I like having him on, you know. But anyway, we got to get out of here.
Hey, he's here.
Oh, he's here. And we got to go now.
It's hopeless, Gary.
It's hopeless. I'll never do it. Your vampire story, the darker. It'll never work. He sends me messages. He sends me messages. Like he sent me one the other night. I don't know what the fuck you were talking about. And I'm like, I got to talk to you because I know that meant something, but I just couldn't pull it apart in my head. I was really tired when I read it too. So I figured I'll just talk to him. He'll explain it to me. So, but we got to finish that script soon. So, and I've got my desk set up now to where I can put my keyboard in front of me because before I couldn't, and I set it up now to where I can fit my keyboard in front of me. I can actually type because I was having trouble doing that comfortably. So, but I want to tell everybody that we appreciate you guys so much when you come and watch the show, and especially our chat. You guys are so amazing. Even when you're late, like Jamie G, you know, he's the guy that shows up at the dance and everybody's paired off and left to make out. And he's like, where is everybody? It's Jamie G. Binkman's girl's that person too sometimes because she'll show up late. But you guys are so awesome. We have the best chat. And
is busy. I don't think she can make it earlier. And she's making a point to show up, even though it's the last 10 minutes. So very much appreciated.
It is.
We need to go.
Oh, wait, I'm trying to read this before I go. A year later, there was another movie with the title Range in it called Home on the Range, which was a flop. Yeah, it's a terrible title. Open range sounds dangerous because open also reminds people around guns, open fire. So, hey, Curtis.
Is very peaceful, Gary.
Curtis Selby is here too, just lurking. Curtis, everybody, I want to thank you all for being here today. I want to let's go through the list. This is like, I really want to get a mirror that you can see through, just like they did on Romper Room, a show a lot of us in America grew up on. And the teacher would pull out a mirror that actually was a hole, and she'd look right into the camera, and she would just start saying names. And I see Snortopupus, Howo, Lauren Worth, Josh Coe, Free, Penny, who's already gone to, I think, do something with her grandson. Let's see, Patrick Jordan, who's off doing his show right now on KGRA. Outlaw Bill popped in. It was good to see him. I love Outlaw Bill. I like watching. He has some great posts on Twitter. Let's see. We got. God, there's a lot of comments. Okay, Tam was
Gary
here.
gets confused
Andy,
when we use the private chat for actual chatting and not just names. He gets confused.
Andy Morrow. Let's see. Wilkie's Movie and Music, the Peter Vickman fan site, Slasher Frad, and also Peter Vickman's fan site we know is Vickman's Girl. And let's see, Dragon Ruse, Shinatsky, Jamie G, and Curtis Selby. I know we've had a huge audience and want to thank you, Bob. Sarah over here. People watching. There's Emil. And I haven't seen our Muslim uncle for a bit. I hope he's okay. So, love that guy. Good dude. Good dude. So, we're out of here, guys. I got to prep for another show. So, everybody have a wonderful day. And don't forget, Dangerous Military Nerds is coming up in 45 minutes. We got a really great guest, Brian Bolin, best-selling author on Amazon, #1 book, my artwork on it. I love that when I see one of my books hit #1. That just shows my fucking thumbnail looks good, man. That art looks good. So everybody have a great day. And if you can join, we'll be going live in 45 minutes. So bye, guys. See you later.
Guys.
Wipeout! Hey, everybody, about the bird! That was no lobster. It was a rock lobster. En route. Rusted.